So that way, when I want to go live, we can go live. See?
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. We have 2 listeners in today. We have Stetson Carter
Hello.
and Sheldon. What the fuck's your last name? Sheldon Stevens. He has been mentioned before many times, and he is finally here. And I think we're ready to get him all caught up and get on board. So he's listening in today, doing quality control, which is unfortunately brash, but we're not going to go down that road right now. Stetson, on the other hand, is a good friend of mine and also a very good friend of our previous episodes, Devlin Jessup. So because of this, I've known him for quite a few years. Not known you, but like known of you.
Yeah.
We've been in the same area,
Yeah.
so
like,
to speak.
like circle. I
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah. We communicate often, so that's kind of cool. But in finding out that you were interested in doing this, I realized that I don't really know shit about you.
Yeah.
Aside from the stories that I've heard from you and Devlin,
Yeah.
which are interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
I've heard about Mexico a couple of times.
Yeah. Mexico's fun.
Yeah. He's given me little blips of interest for this particular interview.
Yeah.
But without saying too much, how long have you guys known each other?
Me and Dev, we met in 8th grade, and we met through wrestling. I think what mostly made the friendship happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because I moved from a different school over to the school that we moved to, Mountain Sky.
I think that was my next question, but you kind of answered it because to be perfectly honest with you, don't see like where you two would have common interest.
Yeah.
You guys are 2 very different individuals.
Yeah, we definitely have different personalities, but I think even though we have like opposites, we kind of balance each other out, I feel like.
Yeah, I've noticed that you definitely do when it's just like you two and like me hanging around and whatever the case may be in kind of a smaller, quieter area.
Yeah.
You guys communicate and you guys talk like you've known each other for a fucking lifetime.
Yeah. I think besides like one other friend, he's probably like one of the friends I've had for like the longest, and we've only had like a small like little time where we didn't like talk very much.
Mm-hmm.
We like still had each other's phone numbers, but he was off doing stuff that I didn't want to be involved with that much.
Fair enough.
I was like, you go do your thing or whatever, and kind of just distanced myself, and I was doing my own thing too as
Right.
well.
Where do you work at now?
Nellis Auction. So it's like an online auction, and we get like Amazon returns and Home Depot and Target, and I'm a processor, so I basically make the post for the items.
Well, that sounds boring, dude.
I mostly do TVs and laptops and electronic stuff.
Fair enough. Probably the most popular items.
Just a lot of revenue from them, which I like.
So, to kind of dive into the deep end here, one of the interesting perspectives that was brought to my attention was I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a mild manner without being too rude. You had you got to experience several different versions of growing up.
Yeah, I think you're referring to what Devlin might have been referring to, where I kind of like grew up with more money, and then transitioned to like less money. In a
Somewhat.
way.
And to get even a step further, are your parents still together?
No.
Okay, so that was my other question. I had learned about that a long time ago. Never really looked into it too much further because, for one, it's not my business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not, but it brings an interesting part of growing up to a new level, you know?
Yeah, and it was like because it was around 2008 where we moved and we like because we lost a house because my dad had a landscaping business. Then it kind of just like the crash happened, so
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't as much. Sorry, lost my train of thought.
You're good.
Not as many jobs, and then like coming in for landscaping, and then from there we like lost our job, or he lost like our we lost our house, and then we found like a different house, and they like got divorced. I think they were separating like right before that.
Right before 2008?
Yeah,
Okay.
or I'm not really sure exactly what happened because it was kind of weird. It was like my dad told me, but like I don't think it like registered in my head because I
Right.
was too young to like really understand fully what was happening.
Oh, that's such an important statement right there, dude. And that in and of itself is kind of why I start off in these specific chapters that I do, that I have tended to, um, without really fully understanding growing up for me and getting older, coming up on 35. I started to see a little bit more of the repercussions of the things that happened from growing up
Yeah,
and some of those turmoils, and that's why it's so interesting to me because it takes so long for that to really register, and you found out all of this stuff within a year.
yeah. So it was a very like a lot of things changed. I feel like so I was like, and I feel it wasn't really like super like harsh at the time or like any like dramatic like divorce. They still like somewhat talk to each other
Hmm.
because I think of me and my sister, which that was another thing that whenever I was listening. You said that you didn't even know I had a sister, which was kind of
Yeah, I
interesting.
didn't.
Uh, but it was like not necessarily like super dramatic and like uh, rough and like they hate each other and uh, like a typical like in your head kind
Hmm.
of divorce. It was a little bit more civil.
Hmm.
But and then whenever we moved and I went started going to Mountain Sky, and before that I like went to Hillcrest, and uh, the elementary school was Pleasant Springs, and so we lived over by Airhead Lakes, so we had like a lake in our backyard and like
I love that area.
yeah the
That's great.
boat and the toys and going out to Mexico every weekend and like all the like bougie stuff, I guess.
That's all right. It's all right. Nothing wrong with that. So in 2008, how old were you?
I was born in '95, so
You're like 27 now.
yeah,
You said like 27. Sorry. So there's a specific number for that. I just don't know what it is right now.
it's 27 because my birthday's in October.
That was a good guess.
Yeah,
Getting better at this math stuff. See? Yeah. Yeah. Um. So in 2008, fuck, what year were we? No, that's 14 years ago. No, 15 years ago. Yeah, 15 years ago.
yeah,
Damn. Damn, you were still a lot younger than. I'm trying to put it in perspective because,
yeah,
again, I got 7 years on you.
yeah,
So that's wild, man. That's a lot to absorb, especially at that age.
yeah.
That's a lot of changing to be happening.
And so whenever I changed, I was not really happy about changing schools,
Mm.
and the thought process of like my mom and my dad was that because I was gonna go, we got a house over by like 19th and Thunderbird,
Mm-hmm.
so I was gonna go to Thunderbird High School, and so the idea was to have like go to a middle school where people would go to the high school with you, or like go to the same high school, so then you have friends from middle school going
Sure.
to kind of ease into high school, which I'm kind of happy that they did that.
Yeah. I would say if there is any silver outlining here is that, I mean, you got to see a very unusual way of this transition, which is the cooperation for both sides.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I feel like that in that situation might have been your mental savings grace, because there's not a whole lot of people that get to see that side of it.
Yeah. It definitely was. I'm glad that it went like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we got the house, then I started going to Thunderbird. And it was like the middle school was a different change, but I like kind of got used to it, and I started. That's whenever I started wrestling, and I kind of was like didn't really want to wrestle because I was like, oh, like that's gay. But now I like understand it more.
Those damn outfits that get you.
So, but now I understand like it's not, and but I started wrestling, and that's I'm glad I did. And then that's where I met Devlin, and
And then you got to meet that shithead.
yeah,
Oh yeah, he was a good wrestler.
yeah.
Were you up there with him, or?
I feel like I kind of got lucky in 8th grade because I started wrestling. I think my weight class was like 167, and it was like my first year wrestling, so I didn't know what wrestle offs were, and they were gonna have the wrestle offs, and then they like got to my weight class, and I didn't have anybody, and they were like, "Oh, you got varsity." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh sure, I guess. Thanks. That's a shitty way to get thrown into varsity. That's scary.
Yeah,
He's like,
but
I
I
don't
didn't
really give a shit.
I don't think I understood it fully of like varsity versus JV.
That's fair.
Not until like the like deer or the championship, the district championship like tournament. Yeah.
That's when multiple schools going for it?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That sounds. The high school version of me is scared shitless right now.
Yeah. And then once I got to high school, I was on freshman and then JV and didn't have a varsity match at all.
Okay, damn. Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
What happened? Did you lose interest?
We just had like a really good team for the 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then I stopped like halfway or like right before the season started my senior year. I kind of like lost interest and didn't really want to do it anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I can see that. I did the same thing with marching band. Believe it or not. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And for some fucking strange reason, I would relive those days. Maybe to try a little bit harder. I don't know. Maybe try something in IT, because evidently I could use it now. So we kind of got into the nitty gritty, right off the bat. That's my fault. I'm anxious. Was there anything like outstanding about Sheldon growing? Sheldon, fuck. He's sitting next to me, and I'm curious about him too. Was there anything outstanding about like Stetson growing up? Like, what was life like growing up? What do you remember? What do you recall?
I know that I was super shy.
I could see
and
that.
quiet. I feel like I still am.
Yeah, definitely.
I grew and like started talking a little bit more now, but still very reserved and very quiet and just kind of like to sit back and like absorb everything. And
The same way as just growing up. That's what you were.
I would say yeah, probably more shy. I feel like I have a mixture of like my mom and dad's personality. I'm very patient, so I definitely get that from my mom. Because my dad's can be a hothead sometimes, or used to be.
Because my dad is fucking not. I don't know. Ever since like I don't recall the first time I met you, but I remember every time that I have been around you, I feel like you're very emotional wise. You're very monotone, so to speak.
Yeah, I get that too. Yeah.
That's truly you. Like,
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, and then I think I have to be more comfortable, so it opens up more
sure,
as time goes on.
right.
I feel like I am a super emotional person though,
Mm.
so maybe I'm just secretly trying to hide the emotions. Maybe that's growing up and
You know what's
the
fucked up is I fuck with that quite a bit.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel that a lot actually. I don't. You're not alone in that for sure, bud.
yeah,
Um, that's not something I think a whole lot of guys really like to get into. And the defense is, it's just that. It's just a defense, you know.
yeah,
Sorry to call you out. I mean, I'm the same way though.
yeah,
Nobody really wants to be emotional. Nobody really wants to be called out, you know.
yeah. And I think that is part of like the society did that to us in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Uh, growing up, I didn't know the difference. I didn't know the regulation of it all. So being the naive little shithead I would just let it all out all the time, not realizing that the other half of the population was going to be a negative image, you know?
yeah,
So I understand exactly what you're talking about and why it would be you just caught the image before I did.
yeah,
So that's super interesting that you say that. I feel like that's gonna be something that resonates with a lot of people, a lot of the listeners,
yeah, for sure.
and that's kind of what we're out to discover. You know, that's what we're sitting here doing,
Yeah,
and that's why Sheldon's so interested too.
yeah.
He has a lot to say about that, and I'm glad you said that. But oh man, that opened up a whole new doorway. Fuck, I don't even know where to go from there. You fucking threw me. Yeah, you fucking slammed me, dude. Where? What? I mean, like, what? What would you? Where would you start with that? What's like the most initial thing that you don't want people to see?
Uh, I think part of it is like the super emotional, like upset, where with basically the stereotypical crying.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I also think that hold. I think I have some anger, not necessarily like I'm super angry person or anything,
Right.
but I think uh, I hold back my anger, and uh, I think that's just linked to me not wanting to get in trouble. Where
Mm.
if there wasn't, if I know that there's going to be consequences,
Interesting.
and if there wasn't going to be, then I think I would have uh, had different things happen in certain scenarios.
Boy, do I want to ask you to elaborate, but I'm not going to. Um, Let me ask you this though. You're intelligent. I don't have to tell anybody that. You are a super intelligent dude. Have you thought about the repercussions of not venting any of this?
Uh, yeah, a little bit. I I think it still comes out, but it just comes out in different like areas
Mm-hmm.
maybe. Um, I know I'm not sure if what I'm doing to get it out in other areas is helping or
Mm-hmm.
not, or if I'm truly getting it out, which I haven't really been like super angry where I needed to like not hold. Haven't been super angry where I'm holding it back in a while, so that's good.
Sure.
Um, but I do realize that there could be consequences to it.
I don't think maybe in my word choice,
Or
maybe not the correct idea of what I'm going for. Consequences may not be the right thought. Um, I'm trying to figure out the right word and I don't have it, but for example, possibly repercussions. I mean that could be a word. I just don't want it to be a negative connotation because it's not. It's not a negative thing. But one thing that I have seen from multiple different angles, as well as myself, is um, any emotional situation could get a hold of you and really spark and ignite the rest of it. Not necessarily in a bad way, but
Yeah.
when that waterfall starts, you know,
Yeah.
you're not gonna have a choice but to let it go for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And I've seen that with people, and it breaks my heart. I've done it personally, not on purpose, but because of me trying to keep things in and trying to keep that shit from
Yeah.
coming out, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I just can't help but ask if that's been a thought process or if that's something that's happened or.
It has been a thought, but um, I feel like the repercussions of letting it out at that moment would
Mhm.
be more uh, negative, I guess.
That's how
Then
that's how it makes you feel.
yeah,
Yeah,
then
I can definitely understand that, man, because that's definitely not an image a typical man wants to portray.
yeah,
You know, we go back to that. We go back to that scenario where this is what we're made out to be,
yeah,
and no, I totally understand that. It seems like you've done a pretty, from what I can see, a pretty good job of putting yourself in situations you want to be in, around people you want to be around.
yeah, and I don't know who said it, but I guess there's like that saying where you are who your friends are. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to surround myself by people that I want to be like.
That's a
Be
hundred.
like.
That's 100% what you should do. You know, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that at all. Um, that's a positive thing. You know, I wouldn't say there's anything negative with that. I mean,
No.
it goes both directions. But as long as you're not surrounding yourself by like fucking heroin dealers, you know, then I think you're in good shape.
Yeah.
And then again, I can't speak for Devlin with what he's doing these days. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's bad jokes. He's doing good. He just bought his own house.
Yeah.
About ready to pay off his brand new car. He's doing good things.
Yeah.
But I, if I'm being honest, man, just sounds like the natural balancing act.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I'm not gonna call out your life because I don't really honestly know shit about it, but I think when you get a little bit older, you're gonna start dabbling in a few other things. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm a late bloomer, which is very well possible because everything for me has been late. um, but it took me into my 30s, you know, to start realizing some of the shit that was happening and some of the real the real effects of stuff that has happened in the past. And there's nothing that I can do to to give you that feeling. That's
Yeah.
just time. Time is the only thing that's going to take it, you know?
Yeah.
So, I guess the only thing I can do is be a dick and say good luck, my friend.
Thanks.
Uh, but what do you have your own place now or what are you doing?
uh, Me and my girlfriend are trying to look for a new place.
Mhm.
We're trying to buy somewhere.
Trying to
Uh,
buy?
yeah.
Damn.
Because I don't. I think it's a waste to try and rent. And I was listening to a podcast about like first-time home buyers, and he keeps on saying uh, rent is going up, which obviously it does.
Yep.
And
I will verify that.
it's like if you get a mortgage, then the mortgage is not going to go up, and then you're getting sit on equity, and it just doesn't seem like a bad choice. It's just getting there.
Is my sister up your ass about this?
Yeah, we
Yeah, I'm sure.
yeah we
You brought it up to her. That was a mistake.
we saw houses, and there was two of them that we liked, and then we like did some crunched some numbers, and then it was like, oh, we can't do that much. That's too high. It was a little soul crushing. So
That'll happen.
yeah,
Well, it's gonna take work, just like everything.
yeah.
So you're coming up on 30 here.
Yeah.
Do you have any real expectations or goals?
I started getting into like drones.
Drones.
Well, yeah, like drone photography and
Oh,
videography.
boy, I might have to use that.
Um, and it keeps popping in my head, so I'm gonna like. It ties into it, so it makes sense to say it now.
Mhm.
But I think because I went, it was almost like a blessing that I went to Thunderbird, because I did photography for 4 years,
No shit.
and now it's something that I'm super passionate about, and I actually won state my sophomore year for one of my photos.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like a reassurance that I'm actually like good at photography.
Hell yeah, dude.
But I started getting interested more in drone photography. I've been wanting one for a while, and then I finally just like had the money. I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then it turns out you can actually like start doing like it can turn into like a side hustle of doing videography and like photos for real estate and like inspections and all sorts of kind of stuff with it.
There's so many artistic means for having a drone photography. I've seen anything from uh, abandoned buildings to every angle of a vehicle to again real estate that you're trying to sell. I've seen people, weddings, fucking you name it, dude. You
Yeah.
can't go wrong there.
So I started. You have to get like, it's not called a drone license. It's basically like a certification to fly commercially.
Oh, you're shitting me, right?
No, and so I've been studying for that. I was studying, then I stopped, and then now I'm going back and trying to like study more
Mm-hmm.
because you have to take a test, and then you have to pass the test, and then you can do it commercially.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There's so many rules. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I suppose thinking about it, if you fly that thing in the wrong direction, you're gonna get yourself in some trouble.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know you had to have fucking licenses for it, though.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I might have to utilize that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can fly that thing in through the door and make it do donuts in here,
Yeah.
Give me a little quick 360s and scoot on back out.
Yeah.
Stupid, I know. That's cool, though. That's, did you go to any kind of a school for that, or?
I paid just like an online school to like self-study.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, they have like videos and then like practice quizzes and like practice tests.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have like a 98% pass rate. So I was like, and if you don't pass, then you get your money back for the class.
Fuck yeah.
So
I like that rule.
yeah.
So do you have any college time, trade school, anything? Community
So
college?
I have my bachelor's in communication and a minor in
Jesus
business.
Christ.
And then
Not what I had in mind, but good job.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I started out doing applied computing was what it was called.
Applied computing?
Yeah, and it was coding, and we started with Java, and I think part of it was the professor, and then I got to the second semester in that major, and I was like, yeah, I can't.
He wants to talk so bad right now. I'm enjoying the shit out of this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for you, coding?
Yeah, so I did a dramatic change and went to communications.
Interesting. And communications translates into photography somehow?
I feel like communications is very broad, so it basically
Yeah.
translates to everything. And then I started doing my master's, and I have one more semester, and I kind of screwed up and didn't. It was like during COVID, and I didn't know what my final project, what I wanted it to be,
Mm-hmm.
and so I did like a recurring like credits basically, so that I could stay in the program.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just paying, and I didn't figure it out. So I was like, "This is dumb. Why am I paying for me to do nothing?" So
While you were going for your master's in communication.
my master's was going to be in social technologies.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was more of search. For whatever reason, search engine optimization stands out in my head, but that's not it.
I feel like you can make a lot of money there too, though.
Yeah.
No, well, maybe not an optimization. Hey,
Well,
fuck you, man.
it was using data to make connections, like socially, basically. So,
Fuck, man. This is not a realm I'm familiar with.
um,
I'm lucky I made it this far. Okay.
so like you could take a whole bunch of Twitters or tweets
Mhm.
rather, and make a connection from the tweets and from the information that the tweets have, and make a connection to it socially. Of say there's a whole bunch of tweets about an earthquake, you could figure out who has water, different things, like not necessarily who has water, but just like a more simple example of like who has water, like where more people are being hit, and like who has been saved, and like make connections through that.
Sweet. I kind of understand. He seems to have a grip on what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what? Just to sidetrack here for just a second. One of these days, once this thing gets reestablished, and your ass is more involved, Sheldon, I think that you maybe do. I want to hear this one. You're coming back. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So you're going to be up next to interview him because I got to hear that conversation. I don't know if anybody's going to understand it, but I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Sounds like web scraping.
Yeah. That was part of it. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So the masters in that fell through because you were paying for shit you weren't taking.
Yeah. So
So you have a bachelor's in what?
communications, and then I had a minor in business.
Minor in business.
Yeah.
That seems pretty vital.
so
Like
I-
what kind of was there a what the fuck? So I keep saying degree, but that's not going to help you here. Was there a direction for the business degree?
I kind of just wanted a minor in something, and to have some idea and some understanding of business, like some aspects of it.
Interesting. So it wasn't directed in any particular way, like not restaurants or something weird like that.
No, and it was super base. It was like super. I think I had like maybe 3 classes, so it was like I had one that was like web design. We had to like make our own web page. It was really bad. It was okay, I guess, but then there was like some other business class that I don't remember what it was for, but there wasn't very many classes with that because it was a minor. So, but I figured because my sister got her master's in business, and then my dad has had multiple businesses, so I was like, might as well have some other, be able to understand a little bit about that.
One of my good buddies that's from Michigan he came out here for. Do you remember when that Arizona Business School was here? It's 59th and Thunderbird. It's not what it was. I don't even know if that school is still there, but it used to be a business. Thunderbird School of Business.
Through ASU?
I'm showing my age. No,
Oh.
but it used to be. At one point in time, it was pretty well renowned, and people used to come here to take that. And he ended up using it for managing restaurants out here and made a killing
Yeah.
while he was living here for, I think he was like 10 years. And he took it back home, and now he's running, I think like 3 or 4 different. It's like their version of a Home Depot that I can't remember what it's called. But he took his business degrees, and he's really, like, he's making a fucking killing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, regionally a killing. And I'm like, fuck, I wish I would have done that. Business degree? For what? I don't know, but I should have done it.
Yeah.
And that, at the very least, can go into the drone ideas that you have.
Yeah. And I'm.
Once you get your fucking license to fly that thing.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking that I might. It kind of depends. I want to get some like time commercially and like do some jobs to kind of get more comfortable with like that whole aspect of getting paid and like what goes into it. Like if I have to have insurance and like the finer details with it. And then I thought it crossed my mind of trying to start like a media production company basically. But it's still super rough idea in just my head.
You know, the first thing that pops out in my... before I get into that, do you have any like, rough idea of where you'd like to end up, of something you'd like to be filming?
I really like. I prefer not to take photos or video people, which kind of sets me out of a lot of jobs.
Somewhat.
But I really like nature, and like flowers and just like nature in general.
With
I
drone
guess.
work.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how that unfolds. I'm not gonna say that it's anything negative, because I've just never seen it.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing that comes to my mind where I think you might be able to make a little bit of money, and it's just my particular industry of choice. You familiar with trophy trucks?
Yeah.
The desert racing?
Yeah.
Get hired on by one of those crews, dude, to do drone work of their footage.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That would make you a couple of dollars real quick, dude.
Oh yeah.
If you could follow one of those fuckers slightly aerial and then catch them in one of their jumps.
Yeah.
I mean, one of their jumps, I'm sorry. These guys travel thousands of miles through the desert. You're going to catch a few of them.
Yeah.
But
That'd be pretty sweet. I'd
Yeah.
be open to that.
you should be. I'll go with you. Hell.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I think that's a super up-and-coming industry, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely changing, and the rules are also changing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting more strict about it, and I don't think the FAA is necessarily like cracking down more on people,
Mm-hmm.
but there's definitely more rules that are coming and changing.
It's just to go back to that example, because you brought up the regulations and rules and stuff like that. It piques my interest a little bit to find out what you would have to do to do that, because some of those high-end race teams use helicopters.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wouldn't a drone be better? I mean, this is where I'm out of my level. This is where you come in, buddy.
Yeah. I think that the only thing the drone, like FAA, the regulation, they have a certain speed that they can go. So maybe that because they're going so fast whenever they're doing 130,
That was my next question, to be honest with you.
they might not be able to keep up.
Yep.
And you also have to be in visual line of sight, so you have to be able to see the drone, unless you have a waiver, which is basically a thing saying that you can do it.
The government said I could.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah.
But if it's what you want to do, then I think you should.
I'm also interested. Also, would be open to like doing the other fields of like the inspections and stuff, because I think of like solar panels or like roofs or like stuff like that.
Hadn't even considered that. Like an actual intelligent use of these damn drones.
Yeah.
I'm into that. That'd be cool. Just don't look at mine. I think my roof's fucked.
I can't. That'd be commercial, so I would get in trouble for that if I went and looked at your roof.
I'd get in trouble if I looked at your roof. Oh, God. Oh, that's fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
It's definitely a line of work I never... You guys both have different lines of work than I would have ever even thought to explore.
Yeah.
I think I remember in my 8th grade, computers were a little different back in my day. We were still fucking around with Oregon Trail. So, Huh?
So did we.
Oregon Trail was pretty dope.
That was pretty fucking. I just could never get past the goddamn river, but that's my own problem. um, I remember them trying to teach us how to make a fucking PowerPoint with clips and music and shit. I fucked it up royally. Boy, this goes back to the late bloomer statement, because I tell you what, I did not get a handle on things until the late 20s. I wish that I would have, though. It'd been cool. But anyway.
Yeah.
Between you two and the use that I'm going to get from both your knowledge, I will excel.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, we got a little off track. That's my fault. Your line of work is super interesting.
Yeah.
Do you so you for work you what'd you say you do? You
I'm a processor. It's like
processor.
my
That's the
title.
word I was looking
Yeah.
for. So is that like do you have like normal hours?
Yeah. So it's Sunday through Wednesday, and then it's 410s, which I like.
Oh yeah, that's super nice. 410s were good.
Then it's 6 to 4:30.
So you have a little bit of a lot of time to watch things manifest a little bit with your hobby.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to have that free time during the middle of the week, or like towards the end of the middle of the week. That doesn't make sense, but
I know, I agree with that for sure. It's super nice to have like weekends off, but at the same time it's like you can't get everything done on the weekends.
yeah.
Some shit's closed, everybody else wants to be off on the weekends.
Yeah.
So, how many drones do you have?
I just have one, but if the problem is that I don't think that it's going to get remote ID, which is like the new regulation that they put out that's going to be in effect the 23rd or in September.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to get remote ID on my drone, so I can't do it commercially if I don't have it. So I might be looking into like selling it and getting a different one that has remote ID, and it's also like limited to like what it can do, but I figured I'd rather spend less money than spend more money and not use it. But now that I know that I'm going to use it, I'm more comfortable with spending more money.
So is remote ID something like an outsider source can ID your drone?
A lot of the way that other people have explained it is like a license plate, so it's more of
Yeah.
yeah,
They can see who it's registered to, essentially.
yeah,
That's... Fuck, man. Technology's farther than I thought.
yeah.
Other people can read your drone. That's fucking crazy.
We'll have location and speed, and then it won't only have the location of the drone, it will have the location of the controller, so it might cause some issues.
So I guess that leads me into my next question is like, there's obviously a pretty significant level of popularity here. If they have to mandate some form of registration that they can read into.
Yeah,
So it's pretty popular?
I think so. I think it's starting to grow more,
Right.
and I think part of it is the like people who do it as some of the problem is that the people who go to or like Walmart or whatever and they buy a drone and they don't know that there's a whole bunch of rules and they just fly it wherever. So
Mhm.
that's part of the problem. And then I think part of it is that since it's growing, then there's going to be more drones and stuff in the sky, and with the planes it has to be more regulated to be able to make sure that
Can they fly that high?
we can fly up to 400 feet unless we're within 400 feet of an object like a building, and then we can fly 400 feet above that building.
So how the fuck high do planes fly?
It
This
depends.
is a real question. I don't fucking know shit.
It depends how close they are to the airport.
Okay. I gotta talk to Devlin again. He better be able to tell me some shit too, because I'm gonna be upset if he doesn't know the answer to all these questions.
But there's basically like it's called a sectional chart, and
Mhm.
it's basically like a map, and it shows, because you can, with the planes, I don't know all the rules because I don't have my pilot's license, but you can, there's controlled airspace and uncontrolled airspace. So the controlled airspace is basically like the air traffic control tower
Mm-hmm.
controlling it, and depending on what level of flight, like where you are altitude wise, then it's either controlled or not controlled, and then depending on if there's an airport, then it might not be controlled airport as well. Um,
Is there a level of drone control that requires radio communication?
no.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I was worried for a minute. I was like, it seems like we're getting into like remote controlled planes. That's where we're headed.
Yeah. But there's still like you can like ask, I guess in a way it's kind of like a radio communication, or it's more of just like a notification of that you're going to fly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I see.
So if you're in controlled airspace and the airport allows it, then you can, it's called LANCE. And I don't know what the acronym stands for, but you basically say you ask for permission to fly in that area, and then you're able to fly up to a certain altitude, and if they allow you to. And then there'll be like a little ring on like the app that shows that there's activity
Your
there.
phone's involved in all this?
Yeah, so you can ask for the LANCE through the app. So
Oh,
it takes
good
like
God.
2 seconds for you to get permission, basically.
I feel like I just live in this little bubble. God damn it. That's cool as fuck, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm surprised. Like, things are so fucking advanced these days. You can do just about anything you need to from these little supercomputers.
Yeah.
You know? I can't tell if that face is like, you're retarded or you're right.
Get a cold Coke. And that was nice.
Oh, it's all good. I'm just fucking with you. This has been fun. Well, I'm super thankful that you were willing to come over and
Yeah.
chat with me and tell me some intimate beings in your head, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited that I know about your passion now. That's fucking dope as fuck. I didn't know that there was any interest in drones and shit, you know. That's
Yeah.
much cooler. So, is there anything else that you'd like to throw in there before we close
Tomorrow we're actually gonna go. Me and my girlfriend are gonna go to the Super Bloom over by Swirl Lake,
out? Yeah.
and we're gonna go take pictures and go see the flowers, the
Wh-
poppies and the purple flowers. I don't know what they're called.
Would you mind sending me some, or does that cost money?
Yeah, I can send you some.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, dude. That's cool as
Yeah.
hell. So, do you have any kind of a business model or anything like that, or is it just a in hobby stance right now?
It's just a hobby right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shit. It's not going to matter too much worldwide, but this thing has reached several other countries, including around the nation. So, if anybody has any professional drone needs, then maybe shoot me an email and I can get you in touch with Mr. Stetson Carter
Yeah.
and get you done. That'd be cool as fuck, man. I'd love to see that thing take off.
Yeah.
You think you'd be interested in coming back? I know I told you you were, but I gotta ask. Yeah, you want to come back and
Yeah.
talk a little bit more with us? That'd be cool. Things are gonna be a little bit more developed next time, hopefully. Studio be a little bit more built. Things will be better.
Yeah.
And now that we got the first one off your chest,
Yeah, I think that was like the biggest thing was,
get the first one done.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll be a lot comfortable for the next round. So, but I'm super thankful you were willing to come over. I appreciate you sticking to your time and getting here and talking with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Like I said, no plugs. You wanna
Uh,
anything you wanna shout out? Yeah.
No,
That's
but
my job.
something that I noticed is that to if you guys haven't already like rated on Spotify, that might also help spread the news of this podcast.
So yeah, we're still a relatively small idea in the world of Spotify.
Yeah.
We're getting there. It's working up. The statistics grow each week, and I'm super thankful and proud of that. But at the end of every episode, we I'd like to remind our listening company to please, if you would, the most important ones I would say are hop on Spotify and subscribe. You will get notifications every week of the Monday and Friday drop. And also, if you could, check it out on YouTube. There's no video feed yet, but that is coming soon. Give that a like and a subscribe as well, please. And the more and more subscribers and followers we get on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, everything, no matter where you listen to your podcast, the farther we can take this and the more we can make for you. So please give it a like and a follow, whatever it takes. Appreciate all the listeners. Appreciate Stetson and Sheldon for sitting in today. Welcome back, buddy. I'm excited to have you on next Friday. And to my follows and listeners, I love you. Good night.